Hello everyone, my name is Ian Turner, and today we're going to be talking about the German culture. Cultural values play an important role in the way society functions as a whole. Stereotypes of German culture may consist of excessive beer drinking and noodling, but these perceived ideas have little to do with how society actually performs. Despite the many similarities of the German and American cultures, the way in which these similarities are portrayed are vastly different. The first thing we'll talk about is individualism, collectivism. Individualistic societies play the most importance on looking out for independent families and themselves, whereas collective societies, people will look out for each other in an attempt to gain loyalty. The German culture represents an individualistic society. Families look out for their immediate family and find that loyalty can be found within themselves, which is heavily based on honesty in all situations. To them, this honesty represents the ability for the people to learn from their mistakes. German culture regards liberty as independent of all things outside the individual, as well as humans being free and moral. Essentially, this gives the individual the ability to make decisions for themselves, which they prefer to do with their best interests in mind. America is also an individualistic society, actually making up one of the most individualistic societies in the world. Informal and direct communication is at the forefront in hierarchy in the prevalent for convenience. While Americans are used to being around people they don't have a personal relationship with, both in business and personal life, they do have difficulty creating strong friendships. This is likely because the American culture finds it most important to look out for themselves primarily and rely very little on external support. This does not foster an environment in which deep friendships can be developed easily. The notion that individualistic societies prioritize themselves and their families over the society as a whole is indicative of a culture that would not place a high importance on success, but also the ability to demonstrate their success. Next thing will be masculinity and femininity. So if a country scores high on masculinity or a masculine dimension, it typically is an indicator that the culture is performance oriented. Or on the other hand, if a country scores low, the culture will most likely be confused more on a positive well-being. Essentially, the focus lies where people are incentivized, being a competitor or enjoying life. Both Germany and America are considered masculine societies. Germany, though, scores slightly higher and starts implementing the masculine ideals early in life by separating children into different types of school by the time they reach 10 years old. Germans place a lot of emphasis on their work life and often derive self-esteem from their success in their careers. Additionally, in the German culture, people tend to show off their success with material things. While American society, this is also considered a masculine one, there are a few differences in the way in which these qualities are shown. Americans prefer to be able to show their success, key motivating doing their jobs well. They may care less about the fundamental things and of being the best, but rather do the best they can and obtain a higher status with monetary value, so say money. Furthermore, it's more common for American people to talk about their success openly and show that they are successful. For societies that value success, the fact of the future is unknown and is likely difficult to deal with. This is one thing that every society has in common. The future cannot be predicted. Where each differs, though, is the way in which each member of the culture decide to deal with the anxiety and stress that may be caused by the unknown. Germany demonstrates a slightly preference for uncertainty avoidance, which is kind of the next thing we're going to be talking about. This indicates they are less comfortable with allowing the future to just happen. They would rather attempt to control it and outcome with the rules they have and regulations and laws. German culture also places a large emphasis on the importance of details in relationship in relation to the law system. So they're very, very big on laws. They find that details are indicative of the success and lack thereof of a project. They rely strongly on expertise. In contrast to Germany, Americans find themselves below average in the relation to uncertainty avoidance. While Germany focuses on rules and regulations in an attempt to control the future, America does not require a lot of rules, and there are more accepted of new ideas. Thus, they allow the future to happen and giving people the freedom of expression. While Germany and America differ the most in dealing with the unknowns of the future, they rest their civil values are relatively similar. So to kind of conclude here, while German Americans' cultures share a lot of similar values, they display them differently. German cultures focus mostly on the individuals and families due to the belief that loyalty can be found amongst themselves, while Americans do so. They have difficulty forming those strong friendships. Germans tend to value their work, so they derive self-esteem from their success in their work, while Americans tend to value success, so they have things to show for it. Lastly, Germans try to control the future by implementing the rules and regulations, while Americans are more free-spirited and they express themselves more freely. German American societies have quite a few similarities in relationship to their cultural values. They both value the individualism and place a high importance on success. They do differ, though, in the way that they prepare for the future. So that wraps it up, and our big bibliography here is a country comparison. That was I'm not sure how you pronounce it exactly, but Hofstede Insights, and German Society and Culture, the World Trade Press. Both are from CCBC, and we have the specific way of individuals in Germany, a culture theoretical comparison of the U.S. And our last one here is Unraveling an Enigma about Germany, and that's also from the CCBC library. So thank you very much.